what is a weight transfer system? Why are they in all of these baits? Why do different companies use different types of weight transfer systems? I'm going to try my best to break them all down for you guys and help you understand which ones you should choose for certain situations. So I'm going to start with the most popular one, and that is just the classic 1, 2, or 3 tungsten balls inside the bait that sit in the middle of the bait, which is where you want it while you're working the bait. But then when you go to cast it, those 2 balls fall to the tail and give you more of an aerodynamic bait as you throw it out, either into the wind or just a normal cast. And this thing works great. And it works in theory and it works in practice. But there's a reason that I pulled out this particular bait. This is the Megabass Vision 110 Junior Plus One. And the plus one is the important part here. So all of the Megabass Vision baits have this weight transfer system, but I really prefer it for the plus ones because they dive deeper and they're angled more like this in the water. And what that allows for is for these 2 tungsten balls to really stay put. A flaw or a drawback, in my opinion, to this style weight transfer system is if you have a bait that is a short-lipped bait, so like a standard jerk bait, like a standard Vision 110, if you work the bait a little bit too aggressive, a little bit too hard, it will pop up like this. It'll kind of dance like this. And then just like I did right there, the weight will go back to the tail in the middle of your retrieve and will cause the bait to now look like this in the water. Extremely unnatural. And then you go to yank it again and it just does a weird thing. It just is super inconsistent. It screws up the action and it looks very unnatural. So for this style weight transfer system, I love it for my deeper or medium diving jerk baits because it stays in a posture that doesn't allow the weight transfer balls to go back to the tail in the middle of working the bait without me even knowing it. Okay, so that's probably the most common one that you're familiar with. Now, I would say the oldest version, it's not really a weight transfer system, it just is a way that a bait is weighted, is just stationary. So this is a Lucky Craft SP78 or 78 SP, one of my all-time favorite confidence jerk baits. It is such a killer bait, and there's no weight transfer system at all. No weight moves at all. And you might be saying, well, then it's probably terrible at casting. Now, I will say this isn't the best bait to cast into the wind or on an ultra windy day. It's probably not the best bait to cast if you're not great at casting a bait caster or just the conditions aren't the best. But what I will say is there are some extreme advantages to this, in my opinion. And that is, as you notice, this is a standard lipped bait, and the weight is nicely placed on either side of that front hook there. So without the weight transfer system, you can really precisely place your weight to get, in my opinion, a better action out of it. So this is one of the most consistent shallow diving jerk baits that I've ever used because you cannot foul the bait. I can work it aggressive, work it hard, it doesn't matter. It's gonna give me a nice walk the dog. It can wobble around. It does all this stuff and it always comes back to center when I stop, which is what I want because this bait sits very, very neutral. So if this bait had a ball transfer system and it's sitting like this, the second you go to jerk it, that ball is going to shoot to the back of the tail and make it go like this, which then ruins the presentation. So for this style bait, where it's sitting very horizontal, I'm fishing it a lot in like shallow ponds or just up towards schooling fish or just, I'm in a shallower lake. This is the bait that I'll go to, or a bait with a transfer system of this style where I don't have to worry about that weight transfer ball going to the back in the middle of a cast. Okay, so we have the roller ball method for the deeper diving. We've got stationary for like a more neutral sitting, more aggressive jerk bait. And then the last version, which is kind of emerging more so now, this is the magnetic weight transfer system. So you see these in baits like the Jackal Re-Range 110. This is the Duo Realis Rosante series. They also have the magnetic. And what that means is there's actually, you can't see it, this is not a clear bait, but there's actually a tungsten weight that also is a magnet that is glued, not glued, but it holds it up real tight here. And then when you go to whip it back to cast it, the force of your back cast forces the weight to the tail, which then gives you a little bit of, aerodynamics as you throw it out, and then you start working it, and the magnet slides back to where it belongs in the middle. So in theory, this would actually be the perfect weight transfer system. In practice, what I found is that it is and it isn't. So what I mean by that is, this is a very light bait. This is the 63 size. So I'm fishing this on BFS tackle primarily. And for BFS tackle, you're not really giving it full, swim bait casts or full size bait casts. So sometimes it's a little tricky to get that magnet to detach. It's almost a little bit too strong. So what I found is, you can cast it without engaging it, which I feel like kind of defeats the purpose of the weight transfer. In that case, I would just opt for a no weight transfer at all and not have to worry about it. But for a lighter bait like this, I don't really see the benefit. I think it may help a little bit if you're on a windy day and you're really whipping it out there, maybe on like a spinning rod or something. But for me, I'm fishing this on bait finesse. It's more of a pitch, kind of like a light wrist flick. It doesn't really engage that magnet weight transfer system. But if you're fishing it on a more full-size bait, like a Jackal Re-Range 110 that has it, then it comes more into play because that bait has a lot of mass to it. You're fishing it on a full-size jerkbait setup, and you can really get some full strength casts in there that is definitely going to engage the magnet weight transfer system. So those are the three types of weight transfer systems. I don't think one is better than the other. I think a lot of it is what you're familiar with. I think understanding the weight transfer systems helps you choose what baits to use them on, etc. I use all of them, but I don't use all of them in all types of baits. I would say for shallower running baits, I really don't like a rollerball weight transfer system. For deeper diving baits, I like a rollerball weight transfer system because you don't have to really sling a hard cast to get that weight to go to the back. You can just kind of hold it on the back of your cast and it'll pop in there. And then if you're fishing a bait that you are going to be whipping into heavy winds, super open water, and you know that you're giving full-blown casts, like full strength, I think that magnet weight transfer system really will come into play for you. I hope you guys learned something. I hope that helped you kind of understand the different weight transfer systems. If there's something that I missed, which I'm sure I did, please leave it in the comments. I'd love to learn more about it. I'm sure there's some weight transfer systems in little details that I am not privy to yet, and I'd love to learn about. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.